So, the other day, I tried and failed to watch a video by a YouTuber by the name of Glink on the community known as Incel. Which, for those of y'all who do not know, Incel stands for Involuntary Celibacy. Now, the reason why I said I tried to watch the video was because the moment I clicked on it, it said this video has been removed for hate speech, or it's been removed for bullying or harassment or something like that. So I didn't actually get to watch Glink's video, but the subject was interesting to me, and I decided to look into it because I've heard of it before, and I only looked into it briefly like a couple years ago. But you know, I just manned it. I only looked just briefly into some subreddits, but as it turns out, there's actually a couple of people, and I guess you could say the Forever Alone people are one and the same. I believe they're one and the same, just by a different name of people. More than anything, I've actually have not seen any woman complain about being incel. So it seems to be almost entirely forged of men who honestly aren't very attractive individuals. I mean, excuse me, actually, some of them actually aren't very bad-looking people. They just kind of look a little mangy. So, I mean, I guess the real unifying trait of these men are they're shy and they're a little awkward, and they lack a great degree of experience with women. Now, again, I do have to make this point because it is an important point, not to bash them, but I mean, a lot of them are unattractive individuals. I'm going to make more sense of that as the video goes on, but it is a point to make. It is important to note that some of these guys are, they are fat. I watched this one video, this one channelist guy, he's literally missing his front few teeth, not the front two, I think the front four, I believe. I think he only has his canine. It's unbecoming, but I don't know if it's his fault, but it is important, and don't worry, I'm gonna make sense of it as the video goes on, but it's important to note that. So I was watching these videos, and I had some thoughts, and I decided, you know what, man, I'll make a video, I'll put these thoughts out here, and hopefully someone who stumbles along, they'll get what I have to say, and if not, well, that'd be unfortunate, but hopefully they get something out of this video, So, where should I start, man? Where should I start? It's very interesting, because there's lots of things to say, but it's really hard to put it in a coherent, logical pattern of putting in the things, So let's start with this. Incel. What's the problem, man? What's the problem with being an involuntary celibate? Well, here's the thing. I think one thing we should start off with is the fact that the actual position itself is one of wallowing, self-pity, self-loathing, and self-hatred, which honestly, personally, I don't really think should be the case. I don't honestly think that you should be sad about being a virgin, because, I mean, as a man, if you really think about it, it's actually kind of funny. Me and my friend a couple years ago said this to each other, but he's like, what even is a male virgin? Really, what relevance does it have to anything when it comes to social standings, right? The reason why virgin meant an unwed woman was because there wasn't really much birth control, in the olden days. And even though you don't really get pregnant unless you're ovulating, really, I mean, you can get pregnant when you're not, but most people could have sex and a woman would not get pregnant, because women don't normally get pregnant outside of their ovulation periods. Of course, this does happen. That's just, fundamental fact of reality. There wasn't really a lot of birth control. So when a woman had sex with a man, the chances are, she's probably going to get pregnant, because there's no real way to prevent that. So the reason why we had a female virgin, was because that was one way we regulated who was going to be the father of that child and who was going to be responsible for it. That's why. A male virgin, on the other hand, I mean, what is that? What real relevance does it mean to anything in terms of the fundamental aspect of having sex with someone? I mean, it really doesn't mean much, but as a society, we have put virgin, especially for men, kind of in the same form of pariah as you put slut for women. But if you actually think about it fundamentally, being a virgin, it doesn't mean shit. Because you can have sex, and the truth of the matter is, and here's a most important fact about being an incel that you guys need to realize, is that, you can have sex, but if the fundamental core of your personality is still one of an awkward, shy individual that loathes yourself and loathes life, that's a hard word to say. nothing will change. And I think that's one important factor that we need to come to terms with about, this community of people, or you as a person. You have to understand, that if you are a really angry, sad, bitter person, first of all, I mean, lots of women are going to pick up on that because, like, they're witches and they have this ability to pick up on people's emotions. Like, I'm telling you, man, women, they are masters of witchcraft. Obviously, I'm joking, but actually, I am being completely serious about this, that a woman is going to be able to pick up on your self-loathing nature of reality. And unless she's an equally depressed individual who is an emotional masochist, she's not really going to be attracted to it. So you have to have an understanding that you're putting your foot in your mouth the more you dig into this ditch of self-loathing and misery. Like, you're getting further and further away from what you want. Now, what you want isn't a bad thing. That's important to note. But you have to understand, if you want to get it, you have to do the correct things in order to try to get to there. I mean, otherwise, you're just going to get worse and worse. So it's very important, when you want to get out of a hole, you got to stop digging. Yeah, I understand that you're sad, because we get sad. Life is shitty sometimes. But you have to... And if you want to get better, of course, I mean, if you don't, well, yeah. But you have to stop digging and get out of this cycle of self-misery, because nothing's going to get better if you're, going into these forums and going into these communities and subreddits where you read the same thing and see the same shit over and over again. I mean, of course, it feels good at first knowing you're not alone, and that's important, knowing that, you're not so different from other people. But if you're only surrounded by that same misery, you're not going to become healthier. And so, I mean, the first, I guess, most important thing about it is, as an incel, you have to detach yourself from that community just altogether, honestly. And I know it sounds, like you're going to be miserable and lonely because you don't have any friends, but this is step one. We're going to get you to friends. Don't worry about it. But number one, you've got to, because, well, I'm not going to repeat myself. I already said it. Now, there are two fundamental problems I find with incels. I mean, there's more, but there's just two really I want to harp on today. And that is problem number one, which I think is this is actually something that affects every man, like in general, usually, until you realize it. But there is a gigantic elevation of the worth of women in these men's life that is not needed, not necessary, and should be dealt with. And I think, like, even I, of course, had this problem too when I was younger, as well, where I would see a woman and I would elevate her to a really high status and really high place in my life without really knowing her and without really even spending a lot of time with her, like having a crush or something like this. I guess some people refer to this like as one-itis sometimes, when you see one woman that you really want to be with, which, I mean, honestly isn't a bad thing. The bad thing is the fact that if the woman doesn't want you back, then you are wasting your time. But the principal idea of only wanting to be with one person is not bad at all. But the problem with the incel, as I see a lot of them elevate their desire for women and make it a gigantic crutch or a gigantic part of who they are as a person, and it shouldn't be. A woman, honestly, is just a person. Like, there's a lot of mysticism around women that a lot of men put, especially lonely men that don't talk to women a lot. But you realize something important about women when you do spend time with them, which, I mean, you don't, so you won't realize this shit. But I'm telling you, from someone who spent a lot of time with women, you realize that they aren't shit. And you realize that they are equally as infallible as you are, because they are indeed humans as well. You realize that women are not this great thing that you should harp on a lot in your life, and neither is sex. I mean, the woman is really just a means to not even a means to have sex. I mean, sex is part of being with the woman, but you really want the woman around you because you think she's gonna make your life better. Well, she's not, because, like, again, like, women they have their own problems too. So honestly, if you really think about it, if you get a woman, like, say, in this mystical world, you being ugly or whatever, fat or whatever, let's say you get a woman. If you don't realize that she herself is also fallible and she herself also can have her own mental problems, you are adding to your own collection of bullshit that you never even realized. And you wouldn't realize this because you don't have a lot of experience with women, but you have to demystify women in your mind. You have to realize that, yes, women are great creatures. You like spending time with women, you like thinking about women, but you have to put it in perspective that they are people. I know I sound like a feminist right now, but seriously, you have to put it in perspective that they are not this mystical thing that you have elevated in your mind. They are not the problem. I mean, they're not the solution to your problem. In fact, sometimes they can create problems for you. So you have to divorce your elevation of women in your mind. You have to put women where they are. They're just people. They aren't shit until you talk to them, until you meet them. Because here's the thing. When I say women ain't shit, like, I mean, like, I'm not saying that they aren't important, because they are. And I'm not saying they aren't important to some people, because they are. But I'm saying to you, they don't mean anything. Like, you really have to, like, think about it. You got to put this in perspective. There's a lot of things that got to be put into perspective. And that is, you don't know this woman when you first see her. All you know about a woman, assuming you find her attractive, is that she's attractive. You don't know this woman, you know, so she should really have no relevance in how you feel about you. You shouldn't be sad or upset or think, oh, she's going to reject me. You don't know her. In fact, here's the thing. Truth of the matter is, you getting rejected by some women can be a blessing in disguise, because some of them can be really fucking terrible people. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some women who are fantastic, and they'll reject you, and it will be painful. I know that personally. There's this one chick named Ariel I met in college. I got rejected by her, and that shit hurt, because Ariel, she was top tier, man. And it happens, you know, but you have to, you know, understand that there are other women. Like, I've been rejected by some women in the past, found them a couple years later. I mean, they're in the drugs. Sometimes they have children. Sometimes they look old, like they just have been beaten down by life. And it's honestly a good thing I wasn't with them, because I would have gone down with their bullshit too. So you have to understand, you know, that as fallible creatures, some of the women you might want, they can end up becoming. And now, here's the thing. Now, let's be clear. This may have happened to those women, but you shouldn't take any satisfaction from the fact that their life became terrible. Like, that's not the point of what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, you have to demystify women in your mind. They are not the greatest thing that will ever happen to you. I mean, a woman can be, but you can't just go around thinking that any woman is going to solve your life's problem, because she's not the problem. Like, women are not the problem of your life. You know, it's your misery and your self-loathing that's the issue, and we'll get into that in a second. But I think this is one of the biggest problems I find with incel is you elevate women way too high. You mystify them in your mind way too fucking much, and you gotta stop doing that shit, because women are fallible creatures too. They have their own problems. They fuck up. Sometimes they can add more problems to your life than they will ever solve them. So you have to find the correct woman to be with, not just a woman. You can't just put women are fantastic things, because some of them aren't. So now here's problem number 2, which is more or less problem number 1, just kind of a little more details sprinkled on it. But you have to divorce. I'm giving you the solution. Okay, so here's the actual problem. The problem is way too much of these incels. I don't even know who's the even audience. Am I talking to the incels, or am I talking to people about incels? I don't even know anymore. Anyway, the point is, you have to. There's way too much of a what's the word I'm looking for? Okay, there's not. I can't think of the word, but I can describe the situation. The problem that I find with a lot of incels is they put way too much of their self-worth on the opinion of women and other people, and you have to, if you want to be a happier person, remove your sense of self from the opinions of other people, you don't know. You got to do it, because you're going to be miserable otherwise. And now, this doesn't mean that you never care about the opinions of people in your life. Like, people who are close and important to you, sure, yes, of course. But people you don't know, especially the women that you're pining after, you have to divorce your sense of self from she's gonna reject me or she doesn't want me. It doesn't make a fucking difference if a woman you don't know doesn't want you. Now here's the thing. There's different kinds of rejections, sure. Like, there's the rejection where you find a woman at the supermarket, you try to talk to her, and she's like, nah, I got a boyfriend. Or she's like, nah, I got a thing I gotta do. You know, yeah, that stings a little bit, I guess, you know. Well, maybe for you it would sting a little bit, but, you know, that's nothing. Then there's the rejection of you meet a girl, you probably didn't like her at first, you know, you didn't think she was all that, but the more you talk to her, the more you truly cared about this person, and you finally tell her, hey, I feel this way, and she's like, no, but you're just my friend. Like, that burns, you know, like, that's the fucking, you know, that just carves out your heart, just leaves a scar in your mind. Like, yes, I get that. Like, those types of rejections are some serious shit that will take time to work through. That is not what I am referring to today when I say, you gotta, relax and get over rejections or divorce your sense of self from how women feel about you, because that is a deep connection you try to build with someone and they did not reciprocate. That hurts. To the people you don't know, on the other hand, to the women you haven't met or the women you just find on the street or at a party or in the club or whatever, you can't put a whole bunch of weight in the fact that they rejected you. You really can't, because, they don't know you as a person. And they can't really know you as a person in the span of 5, 10, 20, 15 minutes, right? Or even an hour of talking. So you can't put way too much emphasis on the fact that that person, this stranger, is not too keen on getting to know you, because you have to really understand, you're asking a lot. Like, if you want to date someone, if you want to have sex with someone, you're asking a lot of that person. If you think of the logistics of a relationship, it's like, you want this person to only be with you and nobody else, for quite some time, which is a sacrifice, I don't find it to be a sacrifice, because that is exactly what I desire, but some people find it to be a sacrifice. You have to understand that some people are finding it as a sacrifice. So to you, this random person they don't know, it is totally reasonable for them to not be super keen on the idea at first. That's why you can't take it to heart if you get rejected, or if someone doesn't want to pursue something with someone they just met, or they're not interested. You can't, be all sad and angry and upset that you got rejected, because the logistics of the relationship is you're asking this stranger to give you their time to learn about you, and they might find out they don't even like you as a person, and then you guys have just wasted each other's time. And so you can't, you can, but you shouldn't. Okay, you shouldn't put a bunch of weight on being rejected, because it's gonna happen. As a man, that's just the reality of the situation, unfortunately. It just kind of is. Even the guys you find to be really attractive, they get rejected too. Every man gets rejected. It doesn't matter how good of a man you look. The fact of the matter is, men have to appeal to women, and women, they base their decisions on how they feel. And if they don't feel, good, then it is what it is, unfortunately. So don't put way too much weight on being rejected, or way too much on the opinions of women you don't know. That is a gigantic problem I find with these incels, and it's something you guys have to come to terms with. Here's another problem I find with incels, man. There's a lot of misery and self-loathing that I find with these people. And the thing is, which is actually the very first thing I said, this is about the whole getting yourself out of this hole you gotta stop digging, but you have to ask yourself a very important question. It's the best way I can explain this shit, and that is, if you don't like you, how can you expect someone else to like you? You can't walk around despising yourself in the hopes that someone will come along and they will love you, because if you don't find anything good about you, how can you even ask someone else to find something good about you? Now, the interesting thing about that is, here's the interesting thing. The importance of what I'm saying is not in the fact that it cannot happen, because it can. In fact, this happens a lot between men and women. There are lots of women who are very self-loathing, despise themselves, and they find men that love them all the fucking time. That's another subject for another time, but the point that I'm making there is that it is possible. You shouldn't be self-loathing in the hopes that someone will come and try to love you, because there's two problems with that. There's problem number one. If you do get that person who will try to love you and you're self-loathing, you're going to destroy the relationship because you don't think that you deserve it. You're gonna go through the same shit that any woman would go through in that same scenario. That's the gigantic problem of being the self-loathing person. But another thing is, if you're self-loathing, you hate yourself, how can you legitimately, honestly expect yourself to go up to a woman and talk to her and try to convince this woman to spend time with you if you don't fucking like you, if you don't have the confidence, if you don't have anything convincing or anything attractive about you? How can you even ask? What right, nigga, do you even have to ask that this person give you their time if you don't like you? You have to like you first. That's the first step. You have to find something that you like about you. Okay, and it can be a lot of, here's the best thing about here's one of the best things about being a man, because I know there's a lot of shitty things that come with being a man, but here's one of the best things about being a man is the fact that you can compensate for a lot of your fucking follies. And it's really, really cool. Now, the problem with compensation is some people put way too much weight on the compensation. I'll probably talk about that in its own video another time. But one of the best things about being a man is the fact that you can work, you can get better, you can train yourself to be better. So even if you are ugly, you can become a really fucking funny mother sucker. I mean, you really can. You can get a lot of money. You can work out, you can lose a lot of weight, you can become really strong. You can even become a really fucking great, honorable person. And that's probably one of the best things ever. That's probably more important than all the other shit I just said, being an honorable, respectful person. And now a lot of people aren't going to give you a lot of accolades for being an honorable person, because some people have this expectation that you should be. But the fact remains, being an honorable person for you, here's the thing. When you like you, when you become happy about you, you will realize that you do not need all of these women to make you feel good about yourself. You don't need to have sex. You don't need to worry about the fact that you're still a virgin, because you enjoy your time with you. You like you as a person. And that is what's going to get you from being a lonely, I guess, I don't think being a virgin is a bad thing, but okay, you do. So that's going to get you from being a lonely virgin to someone that is content with the way they are and who's actually going to do something to change it. But if you're wallowing in self-misery and self-loathing and hatred, you're never going to do anything different, and you can never ask or even expect somebody else to find and love you if you can't even love yourself. Because the thing about loving yourself, which is interesting, and I'm not talking about being conceited and arrogant, I'm talking about liking who you are as a person, being content with who you are, is you're going to project that out to other people. And women are going to be able to pick up on that shit and sense it and be like, yeah, that's the fucking guy I want to be with. Now, not a lot of women, like, don't get me wrong, like, women are fallen creatures, okay? Like, humanity is pretty fucking fallen. Like, this could happen, but here's the important thing about it. You don't do this shit so you can get to a woman. You do this shit for yourself. Because when you obtain that comfortability with yourself, you're going to realize you don't even need to go out. You don't even need to worry about the fact that you're still a virgin, because you like who you are as a fucking person. Now, I realize I'm kind of repeating myself a lot, so I'm just going to wrap it up here. There's a huge problem with incels, in that they think their problem's going to be solved by being with a woman, or they get really angry at society, and they get really angry and they don't do anything to change. But the truth of the matter is, you got to start with liking who you are as a person. And it's a difficult thing. I cannot make you like you, because I don't fucking know you, man. I'm just a nigga on the internet. But I can give you this step. I can give you the order of operations, and you have to solve this equation. You're the equation being the problem in your life. And so the order of operations is this, my friend. You gotta learn to like you first. Whatever it is, whatever is interesting, cool about you, you gotta find it. If you can't find it right now, you fucking make it. That means you can either start exercising, you can start working on being an honorable person. That means being honest, being kind. Like, even if you gotta fake it at first, just do it. Get a personality. Find something you like about you. Okay? You have to divorce your sense of self-worth from the opinions of women you don't fucking know. Because they might not even be worth shit. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. You don't know that at the time, so you can't put weight on the fact they might reject you. You have to divorce yourself from that. Focus on becoming a person that likes you as yourself. Remember that women, they are not these mystical creatures. They are just people, and they're fallible just like you are. And they have their own problems too. They're not going to solve any issue you have with yourself. If anything, if she is a broken individual as well, then she will only add to your misery. So it might actually be a good thing that you're not with a woman right now. And who knows? See, silver lining in everything. So you have to understand those three things. It's your order of operations, my friend. Listen, it's really easy to make fun of you guys. Like, it really fucking is. Like, no difficulty at all. But that's not the type of person I am. When I see someone in pain, like, I want to do some shit about it. Now, at this point, it's all up to you. I cannot make you happy. I can't make you find good things about you. I can't do any of that shit for you. You have to do it for yourself. So if you stumble upon this video, I hope you get something out of it. I hope you pull something out of this video, because I see the misery, I see you're sad, and I don't want you to be sad. I don't want you to be miserable. I want you to do something to start making steps to become happier. Now, again, this is just one fucking video. The rest of your life is up to you, and you have to be the one who, you have to want to be better. You have to want it. And if you don't want it, then, I mean, it is what it is. But I certainly hope that you do. So that being said, man, I certainly hope you guys enjoyed today's video. And if you did, man, go ahead and click the like button. And shoot, go ahead and click that subscribe button. Comment in the comment box below. And as always, you guys have yourselves a great day. And I'll see you cool cats soon. Adios.